are going to do here will affect the entire Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. And I'm running for the office of the President of Nigeria. So I believe that what you are doing is for the interest of Nigeria. And I thank you sincerely for that effort. I didn't know, and our chairman, or vice chairman told me I was going to make a statement. I was actually expecting an interactive section, but I'll try and make the statement and then go to the interactive section. As I thank all of you, I listened to what the two leaders have said, Professor Ango and Arewa said, when they talked about the problem of the country. Everybody is aware of the problem of our country today. And that problem, as difficult as it is, I believe it is solvable. It is not impossible. Nations have passed through that. Today our country have qualified as a failed state because they have made the two ingredients of what a failed state is all about. The two major ingredients: when you are no longer in control of your territory, and when you are no longer in control of your economy. We are no longer in control of these two. So we've qualified for it. And that has produced its own results. Because people ask me, how did we get here? What is happening here? I said, no country will not go through what we are going through today. If you have about 100 million people living in poverty, you are bound to have crisis. If you have 35% unemployment, in fact, we're very lucky for a nation of our size to have 35% unemployment. When you combine it with underemployment, it's about 60%, out of which 60% of those involved are your young ones in their productive age doing nothing with all the energy of the youth. And they don't have anywhere to exhibit or to do anything. You have a crisis. You have 20 out of school children. And coupled with this unemployment and youth unemployment, you have a high drug prevalence. Drug prevalence in Nigeria today is 14.8%, when the global average is 5.8. It's the highest anywhere. I can go on and telling you the problems of Nigeria, but most of them you know already. So they are not things that you want to hear any longer. What you want to hear is the solutions. Because everybody knows the problem, everybody is suffering, everybody wants solutions. Nigeria is not bereft of ideas. Nigeria is not bereft of ideas or bereft of manifestos. There's very good reading manifestos. There's very good reading ideas in Nigeria. If you go where they are parked, they beef with them. What is lacking? Is the institutional weakness that is not allowed to deliver them, and the political will. The government we intend to form, I and Dati, without him, we do things differently. We want to bring a transformative government, purposeful government that will start dealing with the issues. And those issues are known and very clear. The issue of security, which will be decisive. The issues of unity, which will be decisive. The issues of our economy, because it is critical. If you go today, out of the 10 poorest states in Nigeria, 10 is in the north. Out of school children, it is in the north that you have the highest out of school children in the global earth, northern Nigeria. In terms of school kidnapping, it is the highest in the whole world. But when you look at what is happening globally today, the greatest need of the world, the greatest assets, the greatest need of the world today is food. The greatest asset of Nigeria today is in the north. I know people have come here to tell you, or will tell you in the future about oil. Oil is an expiring and a diminishing asset. I know people will tell you about other natural resources. Those natural resources cannot be quantified with the physical assets God gave Nigeria and gave particularly in the north. And that is what we need urgently to ignite and start. Nigeria today is 200 million, and we have all this problem. It's estimated we will be about 300 million by 2030. It's estimated we are going to be about 400 by 2050. If we have this problem of this crisis when we are 200, what are we going to do when we are 400? So we start now to unleash the greatest assets of Nigeria. The greatest asset of Nigeria today is the vast uncultivated land in the north. How can you have among the poor states of Nigeria a state like Niger State? Niger State has 66 prevalence in poverty index. Niger State sits on 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land. Fertile land. And the only avenue, 7 to 8 local governments there are taken over by bandits. And they are waiting for statutory allocation from Abuja, which is less than 5 billion naira a month. So at most they can get is 50 billion. With 76.3 thousand square kilometers. They can't export anything. They are not producing the one they're eating. It is unacceptable. Niger State today can be a place where Nigeria can feed itself and export. Netherlands, without water, is 33,000 square kilometers of land. Total agricultural export, including winter, in 2021 is 106 billion euros. When you multiply it by dollars, it's about $120 billion. If Niger State can do 1% of that, it's $1.2 billion. At 650, it's about 750 billion naira. That's 5 times their budget. But they're waiting for 20 billion. We can't do that. Among the poor states of Nigeria is Taraba. Among the poor states of Nigeria is Taraba. Taraba is sitting on 64.4 thousand square kilometers of land. Taraba, Belgium, in Europe, is 31,000 square kilometers. Israel is 22. Taraba is bigger than Israel and Belgium combined. And the land and Belgium was able to export almost 80 billion worth of agricultural goods. If you go to Taraba, you see the Mambila Falls, one of the best places you can cultivate flour, tea, coffee. I was in Kenya, and I saw in the field young men and women We had just had a little skill cultivating flour. They paid $100 and all of them. Kenya did export of flour last year of over $500 million naira. Kenya is not a Europe. It's a third world country. That can grow in Mambila Falls. I was in Ethiopia. Ethiopia did export last year $1.1 billion of coffee. Coffee can grow there. Sierra Leone, with all their trouble, did 1.54 billion in tea. The gold, the assets, the future of Nigeria lie in the north. And what we want to do is to unlock it. We must unlock this greatness. I have been involved in this, and I can tell you, it is easy if we unlock it. Nigeria, when Arewa was talking about rate of exchange. Our rate of exchange is weak because you're not doing anything. Nigeria, that's why we say we want to move it from consumption to production. Nigeria is not producing anything. That's why your currency is weak. A country like Nigeria, a country with 923,000 square kilometers of land, 210 million people living here, our total export last year was 18.9 trillion naira, which if you divide it by 650, today it will give you 30 billion for 200 million people. It's unacceptable. We cannot take it. A country compared with another third world country. Vietnam is 331,000 square kilometers. That is the third of Nigeria. Vietnam is 100 million people. That's half of our population. Vietnam export last year is $350 billion. We couldn't do, for a country we are 3 times the size in land, towards the population, we couldn't do 10% of their export. It's unacceptable. We will deal with this country. We have the gold here. If you put us in power today, we'll start unlocking that gold. And the first thing to do, here in Kaduna alone, I lived in this country when there's over 400 industries between Pompai and Chalawa and Kanu. I lived in this country when if we want to look for cash in Nigeria in banking, we say go to Kanu and get cash. Today Kanu is dead. There's no commerce. There's no commercial transaction in Borno State. It's only government transaction. So is Kaduna. Is dead. We will unlock it and bring it back. And it's not difficult. And how do you undo it? We have a bank of industry. We have a bank of agriculture here. You're involved with agriculture. Our bank of agriculture is dead. It's not giving anybody loan. In a country like ours, a developing country, 3 countries are the biggest banks. Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, and Bank of Infrastructure. What are we going to do? I financed one of the biggest rice farmer in this country, Unza in Kanu. Ask him, as the banker financed him. He's there. You can go there and see. And that is what we need to do. And I can tell you, you talked about India. Punjab, one state in India, have over 700 tractors. The entire Nigeria have less than 50 tractors. It will not work. Not again. We are consuming, we are wasting our time. We have to bring governance back here and deal with this issue. We will unlock this. If you go to a bank of agriculture here, what am I going to do with it? I'm a banker. I'm a financier. So I know what it is. What we need to do is to get federal government to, I'll call all the bank. All the bank will be shareholders in Bank of Agriculture. Federal government will put their money, all the states will put their money. You will be #1 bank in Nigeria and will lend money directly to genuine farmers. Not fake. We must return our people to farm. I know the things we will do before that, but we must deal with that. It is easy. It is not difficult. We must make sure that inputs are available. Our research centers are not working today. India produces variety of rice, about 100 every year. Our research centers produce 1 in 5 years. It won't work. We will get it to work. We will bring governance back to what it used to be when you had 1 to 1. We will deal with it. But I know that the North is worried and they're talking about insecurity. Yes, it is a problem. And I've told you, it's number one thing we will deal with decisively. We will make it responsive and responsible. We're not going to take chances. We will put some people there. We will make them work. If they don't work, they go. They're not going to stay one day. We will deal with corruption inside it. We will deal with that corruption that is inside the security system. We will call on partners because we need to secure the country. We want locals and everybody to come back. We will increase the police personnel because the number today is low. Egypt, with 100 million people, have over 1 million police. Nigeria, with 200, have only 325,000 police personnel, out of which about 75 is following us. So 250, it will not work. We will increase the number. We will make it work. We have people who can make it work. It is not possible. We have what it takes. I can tell you we will secure this country. I know what I'm doing, what I'm saying. We will deal with issue. When we deal with the issue of insecurity, then we start pulling people out of poverty. The more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality. When people are hungry, but they don't know where the next meal will come from, they'll become criminals. If you give them food, you reduce criminality. It's simple. It's in done in countries all over the world. You have different types of agitations today because we have a problem. Were they there yesterday? No. Yesterday the country was good. There was profit. There was something to share. So everybody was living peacefully. When there's nothing to share, there's problem. Because the only thing people share is profit. They don't share loss. In loss, they quarrel. That's where the country is today. We will bring back the country again. And we'll make it work. We will deal with other issues that are besetting our nation today. Issue of corruption. People have said they will fight corruption. If anybody says you fight corruption, let him tell you where the last opportunity he had to manage public money, how he managed it. I, Peter Obi, was governor of Anambra State for 8 years. Go there and show me where their money is missing. I can tell you, I won #1 as MDG. The only thing Nigeria signed in year 2000, first minister there is MDG. It was MDG that China mistreated into the development agenda and was able to pull 439 million people out of poverty. It was MDG that India mistreated into the development agenda and put 269 people out of poverty. That is what Vietnam used to pull over 45 million people out of poverty. In Nigeria, we didn't do it, and we threw more people into poverty. But Anambra State was #1 when it ended. Despite being #1, go to our schools. Our schools was closed for 2 years. One of the candidates mentioned it, he said it everywhere. But today, go #1, we are #1, 2011, 12, and 13. You know, some of you, all I can say is go and verify what we were able to do there. As governor of the state, I signed over 10,000 documents for CFOs. Go and ask if you see one land directly or indirectly allocated to P2B, come and stop campaigning. I left When I left the state, I left in Access Bank. It's a bank in Nigeria. I left in Access Bank $50 million and over 10 billion naira. I left in Diamond Bank $50 million and over 10 billion naira. I left in Fidelity Bank $50 million and over 10 billion naira. Until today, Anambra have never paid me 1 naira as gratuity or pension. I left 8 years ago. You can go and verify it. So if anybody said he was fighting corruption, let him tell us how he managed public money before. I was chairman of Security and Exchange Commission. Go there and ask them whether one day I took sitting allowance or they gave me 1 naira. There are places. So if anybody said he's going to fight corruption, fighting corruption is easy. If you are not stealing, your wife and children are not stealing, those around you are not stealing, you're reducing by 70%. We will fight corruption. We will fight it to they stand still. Today, people are stealing government money. People are stealing. Nigeria is the only country. Nigeria is the only country in OPEC that is not producing its quota, apart from Venezuela, because of sanctions. And why are we not doing it? Because our oil is stolen. Who can steal oil? Nobody here can steal oil. People stealing oil are people in government. For you to steal oil, a ship has to come in. Somebody will authorize that ship to come in. Somebody will authorize it to go out. It is not, oil is not sweet. You put it in your pocket. And the waste is too much. We have a deficit, a crippling deficit. We have a crippling deficit of our budget, and we are allowing people to steal our oil. It's unheard of. Between January of this year to 30th of April, Nigerian total revenue was 1.6 trillion. Our total expenditure was 4.7 trillion. We have 3.1 trillion deficit. And people are stealing our oil. It can't continue. We will stop it. Just to show you, and this is our deficit. Let me show you what we lost in 2 months in oil. In July, our total production was 1,083,000. That means every day we were losing 717,000. Multiplied by 31 days is 22,227,000. The average price of oil in that month was 110. If you multiply it, we lost $2,445,000,000. Let's just leave 750 and multiply with 550. It's 1,344,750,000,000 naira. That's what we lost in 1 month. In the month of August, it was worse. In the month of August, it was worse. We were producing 975,000 barrels. So we are losing 825. So over the 1 month, we lost 25 million barrels. At 100 naira average, we lost $2.5 billion, about 1.4. So in 2 months, Nigeria lost, we lost nearly $5 billion or equivalent of 2.8 trillion naira. Which country can operate like that? It cannot. We are paying subsidy. Subsidy is organized crime. There's no way Nigeria can consume the number of money we pay in subsidy. That is the money we want to save and throw into productive sector in the north and get this unemployed youth that is giving everybody problem to have something to do and we reduce their criminality. It is doable. It is not rocket science. It's happening in other nations. It can happen in Nigeria. So my dear people, all I plead is that, yes, as you know, as P2B goes around, there's all sorts of news. There's all sorts of things which I'm not here to defend A or B, but anything you want me to clarify, I'll clarify. But I want to assure you, today, I'm a Nigerian. I believe in Nigeria. I want to give Nigerians hope. I want to ensure that if you say did not have the highest out of school children, I want to reduce it. I can deal with it. Why? Those children that decided they did not go to school have learned Quran. I work with these Islamic centers and malams to keep the skills. I'll put the skills. I will meet them at the point. If they can learn Quran, they are very intelligent. And I'll teach them skills. And if I teach them skills, I'll support them because we're going to put money in micro, small businesses. They'll have a business to do. They'll have a future. And when we give them a future, we'll change them. There's a lot we can do to change here. And I'm committed to it. And I want you to tell what I'm doing. And people said to me, what is the manifesto? I said, don't worry. I will give you a manifesto. But I'm telling you what I'll do. And I want you to tape it. And I want you to hold me responsible. I will be in charge. I and Daddy will be in charge. Nobody will find us wanting. We have the physical, we have the mental and physical energy to do this job. And we are ready for it. Let nobody worry about that. I can tell you, we work as a family, we work as a team. Every single day, when I sought him out, I said, Daddy, I'm not choosing you because I'm looking for somebody from the north. No, I'm choosing you because I'm passionate that whoever I'm going to do this will be as passionate as I am to turn around the north and tell them, I keep saying it, the future of Nigeria depends on the north. I will unlock it. Because I want to be able to say, I want to turn the entire Kano into a farmland and use Kano and Kaduna as processing centers. And you will see it happen. Kaduna here is 46,000 square kilometers of land. Kaduna is 2 times, I can tell you countries that are that tiny. We can't go on this way. And that is what I want to solve. That is what we want to change. I assure you, I'm sure you have questions. Please feel free to ask me any question. Feel free. I'm here to clarify and tell you who I am. But most important, you know that this is Peter Obi. I'm a Nigerian. I believe in Nigeria. I live for Nigeria. Every day, all I want now is opportunity to create a new future for Nigeria. Next year's election, I'm pleading with you, should not be based on the perimeters we used before. I don't want you, we are now hiring a new MD for this company called Nigeria. I don't want you to hire people based on tribe. Please, don't hire people based on religion. Don't hire people based on my tongue. Don't hire people based on anything. I'm telling you, all this is what the elites used to confuse us, to keep us where we are. No, there's no tribe that is enjoying anything today. The people in the north don't buy bread cheaper than people in the south. The poor people in the north are poor. The poor people in the south are poor. There's no uninterrupted light in the north. There's nothing in the north that is lacking in the south. There's nothing in the south that is lacking in the north. All of them are suffering. There's no place anybody buys anything cheap because of religion. I'm a Christian. The Central Mosque in London, I lived my life in London. Went to the best schools there, from Oxford to Cambridge to... The Central Mosque in London was not donated by the Queen. The Queen is not a Muslim. In Dubai, I'm a Christian, a Catholic. If you go to Dubai, the Catholic church in Dubai, the land and the church was built by Emir of Dubai. So let nobody give us the excuse again. What we want now is progress. What we want now is to employ our youth. Next year, the election must be based on character we can trust. What we are selling now is listening to all of us. All of us are going to have a well-written manifesto, a well-written document we read out, a well-written this. But what we are selling now is, who among us will you trust? It is a trust issue. Who among us will you trust? We want a character we can trust next year. Who is more competent? Election next year must be on character we can trust. It must be incompetence. It must be incapacity and commitment to start doing the right thing from the first day. We must stop this abuse of our country based on primordial excuses. It is hurting us, and you take a revenge on our children. Thank you, and God bless you.